Welcome. Hello. Happy Sunday. Good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing out there today? Happy Sunday, especially to those of you doing a little fantasy football tonight. I know it's big playoff implications for everybody. Headbug, what up? Thank you. Hawk Tuah hit like on the stream. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, little impromptu stream here. Something that doesn't quite fit any of our current brands. This is exactly the kind of thing that Danny and I would normally be talking about on a Sunday morning or a Tuesday afternoon. But this one I just couldn't sit by. A lot of times, some of this stuff will pop up, and I'll be like, "Oh, that would have been fun to talk about," but we don't really have the platform for it. Alas, uh, we're kind of going in reverse here because a couple of days ago, I stumbled across a new Jim Can't Swim video, as I'm sure many other true crime fans did, and quickly realized that the recipe was gone, that this was not the same JCS that we were used to. So while I'm working on that, while I'm getting all of my sources together and preparing for that stream to do here, the the breaking news as of a couple of days ago now of the Hawk Tuah crypto scam was brought to all of our attention, thanks in no small part to CoffeeZilla, whose Voidzilla video we will be looking at. But generally speaking, uh, a Twitter space is what got us here. So that's going to be the show today. We're going to kind of break things into two halves. We're going to spend some time looking into Hawk Tuah, not only her scam meme coin, but the app scam that she was running right before that. And then we will also look at the newest Jim Can't Swim true crime interrogation video, which was removed within 24 hours of upload due to the backlash from viewers. And we'll get into all of that. I will show you some examples of what the channel looked like, how it got to be so popular, how it was able to create so many clones, and then we will see how the channel, at least in its most recent upload, turned into a clone of itself. We will speculate on why that happened, as well as get some feedback from Kazumi, the narrator of Jim Can't Swim. So if you're interested in any of that, hang around. That's the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about. Please, like Headbug mentioned, leave us a like. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in stuff like this. Whenever I have a topic that won't fit on Dweeb or Bite Size Sports, or maybe that Clout Route channel may be coming back at some point. In the meantime, whenever there's something that we want to live stream about that maybe doesn't cover everything else, I'll be doing it here. It's also this YouTube channel is my home base. So if you're ever interested in seeing any of the projects I'm working on, all of those channels are linked on the homepage of my YouTube channel, youtube.com at Kev Nevick. So welcome. We will get things started here. Apologies for the long intro. Headbug says, I am still bewildered. She had a career, honestly. And that is a great point. That's where we're going to start. We're going to start with the Hawk Tuah scam. We will work our way up to the crypto, but we're going to talk about something else first. As Headbug mentioned, bewildered, she had a career. I'm not the first person to make this next statement, but generally speaking, when you run into people that are, how do I put this politely, more famous than their talent would suggest, right? Somebody who has become famous, not really based on their merit or any skill that they have, more so based on, well, maybe being an industry plant. We can talk about that. A lot of people have suggested that with this one. But let's just say somebody who gets a little too famous, a little too fast, whenever that begins to inevitably dwindle, we see about three different paths, right? We have crypto scam or just general scammer. Some of these are shitty products, some of them are webinars, some kind of class that I'm going to teach you. So we have that sort of scam. We have the political scam, which most of the time, just to be honest, just to be fair and balanced, those usually end up being right wing grifters for some reason. Think of, add your own color commentary to that, if you will, or and not to say that there aren't, not to say that there aren't those on the other side. Hassan. Um, and hell, maybe I don't watch Ethan anymore. Would he be on that list? But the third would be, of course, your OnlyFans grift, your porno grift. Oops, sorry, shouldn't have said that word. At least we're not 3 minutes in. And to be completely honest with you all, hands up, cards on the table. If you would have asked me a week ago, Kev, which scam do you think the Hawk Tuah girl will end up running on people, or which business venture? Maybe those aren't all scams. I would have guessed OnlyFans, okay? Simply because the only reason we know who this person is because she made a blowjob joke. So it just kind of stands to reason that when the podcast dies, which we will look into a little bit later, we'll check the numbers. What would be after that? I would imagine she'd do an OnlyFans for like a month and make just an obscene amount of money from a bunch of simps and then just get the fuck out. And then that'd be that. That's what I would have thought. But no, 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 no. We are on to a whole different scheme here from Hawk Tuah. Let's see what Headbug has to say. I feel like we need to see a relationship breakup, a fake pregnancy scam, and then possibly an abuse allegation yet to come from Hawk Tuah. Then she'll have completed the controversy speed run. Yes. You'll begin to see the patterns of a grifter as we unpack all of this, because I mean, I think even just looking into her video uploads on the podcast channel kind of lets you know where we're at already when you look at those first numbers. You know what? Let's just do that. Let's do that first. And then we will get into Pookie, the app. So give me 1 second here. We're going to get to the Talk to podcast page. I will inevitably have to mute this because she's got a full podcast episode set up on autoplay. You got to love that. Got to love the hustle of that right there. Let's see. Fingers crossed, gang. I went the StreamYard route this time. I do think we'll be using OBS for these streams in the future. So apologies if this gets choppy. It's probably gonna. So here we are. Talk to it with Haley Welch. And look at this, we're already just creeping to a halt. Jesus Christ, computer. Like and subscribe if you would, so I can eventually afford a computer that can actually stream a video while I'm streaming to you. Good God. Okay, so Talk to it. Let's go and follow along here. Introducing Talk to with Haley Welch. Nobody really cares too much for the ad, but the very first episode, 2.6 million. I said Hawk Tuah, and now I'm here with Whitney Cummings, a perfect first guest right there. Okay, immediately we see the lack of any creativity, any need for this to be a show. This, again, we talk about stuff like this all the time on Dweeb in a maybe a more constructive sense when people get a show greenlit because they own an IP and they don't actually have anything to say. This is what you get. So when you have someone who's just famous for the sake of being famous, or because of a blowjob meme, wasn't even that, like, spitting on it. Like, I mean, we're not going to get crass here on a Sunday, but really, like, that, even that shows a complete lack of creativity. uh, from one Appalachian to another, she's only famous because she sounded like a fucking bumpkin when she said it. If somebody with a regular Midwestern accent says that, nobody gives a shit. But she sound, you gotta give the old Hawk Tuah, spit on that tang, man. And everybody, she's like the Rizzler, but an adult. Everybody's just laughing at her. And for that, I at one point felt bad until I saw how much money she was making. And then we got to the grifts. Hard launch Pookie. I made it official with Pookie, and here we get to see again about 200K per dropping. I wrote Dash's next hit song, less than 500,000 at this point. We do see a bump as she very wisely has a podcast with JoJo Siwa, someone who also is really, despite maybe what she might have achieved previously, is really just kind of out there as a walking meme. It's just somebody who her whole strategy is just to piss people off and say really dumb stuff. Like she created gay pop, which is just maybe the dumbest thing that she's ever said, but there's a lot going for that. So we've got 800,000 there, immediately back down as we go. I ruined my first date with Pookie. This is just a person talking about their personal life. Like this is I guess when people mock podcasts, this is probably what they're thinking of. Like, who the hell would ever listen to a podcast? It's just two people sitting around streaming their living room conversations. Who would want to watch this? Brianna Chicken Fry on dating in public. That one is down to 300K. Again, crushing my metrics. Let's call it like it is. But to see this consistent dip is probably another reason as to why we are getting into the grift arc so early. What up, Harls? Seemed like she was playing her cards pretty smart at first. I was rooting for her. You know what? And that kind of goes back to what I was saying previously. There was a spot where I was just thinking, oh, well, good for you. You marketed this, as she pointed out in one of her early interviews. Everybody else was making money off of it, and that's what motivated her to start making some money. No problems with that. Like, go get yours. But when it starts to quickly and clearly become a cash grab, that is when things can get a little sus. And from there, we will take you to the Pookie Tools app. This was probably the first red flag for anybody playing along at home that, our Hawk Tuah girl might be a Andy Milonakis type. But see, it was all the accent. It's just the bumpkin-y accent. I can say that because I am a bumpkin. We are allowed. I don't have long hair to cover my red neck, so that's where we go with it. Pookie Tools is an app right here on the App Store. Immediately, I will say one of the red flags I found about this: 48 ratings, 3.6 out of 5. You will see we have feast or famine here. It's either people standing for it or absolutely hating it. And when you go to see all ratings, they say, how about 10 of them? How about just 10? We know there's 48 here. I assume if I pull this up on my phone in the App Store, I could have access to the rest of them. But just very odd to me that I can't actually look at any of these ratings except for the ones that are kissing its ass. A great reference for dates. It says, Haley Welch, my savior. But these are all meme comments. Actually, let's have some fun. Hello everyone, I'm an 89-year-old man with severe drinking issues and balding issues. This isn't actually a misdiagnosis. My wife left me because I would prioritize Hawk Tuah over our 5 infants. She took my life savings, 401k, and all the children. I spent my last dollars on this app, and it's the best decision I've ever made. Judging users based on height can have a harmful impact on individuals, leading to negative self-esteem and feelings of inadequacy. This one is genuinely real. A 1 star. I hope the developers will reconsider this feature and create a more inclusive and respectful platform. Sorry, there is at least one real one in here. Oh, this was a good one. Cause divorce, 2 stars. So I got the app for measurement detector and ran my hubby. He has been lying. The lights are always off and he hides it from me. But this app let me upload a full body pic. AI Haley said he has a 1/4 inch worm and that if I Hawk Tuah on that little old thing, it could cause irreparable damages physically for him and more so mentally for me. We had to call it. He took the prime and all my goop candles in exchange for letting me have custody of the kids. Shout out to Tom Jane. Always wanted to have some. It's such a ride going from step grandma to just mom. Glad you got our back or front, Haley. You rapscallion deviant. You. Let's see what chat has to say before we move on. She Hawk Tuah too close to the sun. Ain't that right? And I do believe the SEC is going to have that very same feeling. You flew too close to the sun. So many of these scammers don't see any repercussions, but this one might just be too big to get away with. She spat all over her thing and extinguished the vibe. Yeah, Haley, you have this newfound and unearned credibility just through the sheer number of people that are watching your podcast, which, despite what we just saw on YouTube, is somehow the third biggest podcast. What I keep hearing, it's the third largest podcast across all platforms. Wild to me. That would be the case. But you have all of this credibility, Haley, and all this responsibility. What are you going to do with it? I'm a Hawk Tuah and spit on them fans. Fuck them. We're going to rug pull the shit out of them. And that's only for the ones who didn't fall victim to the Pookie app. Joe Rogan wrote that gross one where his wife and kids left. Let's get back to the Pookie app. Now, we do have some help here today from some talented creators. So this next video comes to you by way of Jamari. I believe he refers to himself often as the Tan Superman, and he went up, and away on this one, doing not only research into Hawk Tuah's crypto scam, but our boy paid the $5 to have access to the Pookie app. So again, we're going to go ahead and just watch his video on it. So if you somehow are here and have not yet heard of Jamari, he's got about 1.3 million subs. Let's get him one more right there. Go check this out. There's a 10-minute video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. That's not what we do here. But let's get into what is behind the curtain of this Pookie app for those who don't know. If she has any assets, she better do and liquidate them things. Here we go. Oh, we're muted.
Activities seem questionable, to say the least. Like advice from a height detectors are catfished again, and you can even have an AI.
I love the height analyzer. That actually is pretty useful.
Now, the main problem I have with this app is that it's a blatant ripoff for you.
Oh, wow. Hang on. We're going to hide our main man, Jamari, here. $5 a week or $40 a year. Video audio is a little choppy. Sorry about that, Harles. Yeah, that is, I think for the next one, we'll go ahead and use OBS. Might work a little better. I might actually make this one a shorter stream and jump right back in for the JCS half, because that is going to require a lot more watching along. So bear with me for this one. And we'll get some improvement here for part 2, but we're going to bring this back up. All right, but that $40 a year or $5 a month just screams to me they are begging for you to do that weekly thing so you can just get bled out by this shitty little app.
You know, guys, I had to ask my mom, Hawk Tuah Girl, here you go. And I got to exploring this hellish beast of AI slop. I'm serious when I say that I think this thing is a massive pile of shit.
Okay, well, this thing is not working for me super well. They are relying on you forgetting you've subbed. Thank you, Harles, as well for letting me know about that. So we're gonna go back to a clip. We will because we're here now. So forgive me if it's choppy. I don't want you to hear or at least see what some of the app actually does. But that is what this whole thing reeks of to me. If you've ever seen the videos about Russell Hartley or any of these other love guru types of scammers, this is what this is. This is another scam. It's, I mentioned the big three of possible routes a scammer could go. It almost feels like she did take uh, two of those three routes. The only thing now, maybe there's four, I guess, because this is kind of like she's full on scammer with this. The dating app thing, that's a completely different type of vulnerable person you're trying to take advantage of. And uh, I just don't know who would be coming to her for this kind of advice. Yeah, you made a blowjob joke. I'm sure you'll be the one to help me get out of my funk, to rizz up my crush. Ugh, God, did I just say those words? Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Don't leave yet. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Basically, you're paying money here to talk to and get advice from an AI bot.
Let's see what some of this says. Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit. Okay, hang on. I'm going to do this in a Haley Welch voice. Okay. We're going to take this down. All right, maybe that'll be a little better. Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit if it ain't a fancy city slicker term. I reckon you mean, how's it going? I'm just finer than a frog hair split 4 ways. What's shaking in your neck of the woods? Going good. I need your best dating advice. Well, bless your heart, you came to the right gal. First off, always remember if they can't handle you at your worst, they sure as hell don't deserve you at your best. You think you're all fucking Marilyn Monroe? Get out of here, dude. If you don't subscribe to me at my baldest, then you don't deserve me when I can afford to go to some European country and have the back of my head reinstalled into the front of my head. All right. That's one of the worst quotes. I hate that quote. And again, just the laziest. This AI is just taking old famous people quotes and country frying them up, putting a little chicken fried gravy on top. Woo! Oh, and honey, never trust a feller who don't like dogs or sweet tea. I thought this was a guy coming to you for dating advice. Anyway, this is for women to get dating advice. That's the mark? Because yeah, historically, it's the women that fall for these dumb little $5 a week romance scams. Really, are there that many women out here falling for romance scams? I thought lonely dudes were the mark there. Maybe I'm wrong here. I'm giving you ladies a ton of credit here. I don't think it's too much. I thought it was just us dumb mouth breathing men that fell for fucking romance scams, but apparently this is geared towards trying to help ladies who are so down on their luck they're gonna turn to Haley Welch for dating advice. All right. Oh, and if they ain't willing to share their last piece of fried chicken, you best run for the hills. Keep it simple, keep it real, and always keep a little sass in your back pocket. And just again, so you don't think I'm making any of this shit up, here it is. Okay. There it is right there. I don't hear a difference. Yeah, that's just me speaking in my native tongue, to be honest, I reckon. Well, I tell you what, I'm sure going to be bushed after this stream. I'm all tuckered out. Whew. Dogs are barking.
But and it's not even their own butt. They just poured over open.
Oh my goodness. Okay, here's another one. Here we go. Make her laugh and maybe take her out for some good old southern barbecue. If she likes you, she'll be hawking to it whatever you want in no time. Just remember, charm goes a long way, but manners go even further. So there you go. Shout out to Jamari. The app does not collect any personal data or user information. However, it does collect your IP address and and wants your photos too. So there's that. You got that going for you. Holy cow. Okay, so I don't know what your verdict is out there in viewer land, but I look at the Pookie app and I see a scam. All right. I see and I hear and I smell a downright dirty scam. And that was before Voidzilla, CoffeeZilla got to any of this. All right. And that is where we are going to jump to the Hawk details. No video for this one, so maybe we will have some better luck. Let's see what chat. Everybody says, I mean, some sound advice there. Food and comedy wins women. Hey, it's fair. I do think, but that's what I'm saying. It's what makes it feel like it's got that grifter shine to it. It's not that these grifters who make these stupid courses don't give you some applicable advice. It's just the stuff they give you could find on fucking Wikipedia, or there will be dozens of people on this earth that will give you that information for free. Like, I would tell you that for free. You want my dating advice, dudes? Yeah, absolutely. Be able to tell a joke or two, and like have some shirts that are ironed, maybe with a collar. Make sure your clothes match when you go out. If you're bald, fucking just shave your head for the date, or just have a bunch of hats that match the clothes that you wear, so it can at least look like it was a choice and not a genetic defect. All right. But yeah, just be funny. Wash yourself, clean up. And you know what else would be some great advice out there? Just treat people like human beings, So if you get nervous and you're not really sure what to say, just talk to her like she's a fucking human being. That might work for you. So again, if you want more groundbreaking advice on how to communicate with other human beings and to maybe not spend every single minute of the rest of your life alone, just give me $5 per week. I can do that. We'll do that for you. No, don't do it. These people are always trying to scam you. Just find somebody who has a stated interest in making YouTube ad money. You can at least trust them, right? They're at least just in it for the views. You can at least find the limit. They're trying to say, oh, but behind the paywall, there's so much more. Get the fuck out. Just get out. It's generic BS you could find in a fortune cookie. Boom. Exactly. So now that we know the depths of Haley Welch's scammery, here we go. From Charlie World TV, not a Twitter handle I'm familiar with. So fair warning if it ends up being someone that's completely heinous and disgusting. I will read most of this, probably not all of it, but again, as we go through these details and look at if somebody is promoting a meme coin to you, it's a scam, right? Like, that is such a bullshit move that everyone has pulled off now. Oh, it's a meme coin. So you should expect it to crash. It's just dumb. It's just a joke, bro. It's not a joke to the poor gullible suckers who got rug pulled on this. And I'll be honest with all of you. I am torn on that part of it because my original response to all of this was, if you were so inclined to invest any sort of money at all into the Hawk Tuah Girls crypto token, you probably deserved it. That was my first thought, right? Was like, shit, you get what you fucking deserve. But then I see and hear this Doc Hollywood idiot making a point to say that they were going after people who have no prior knowledge to crypto, that they were essentially looking to use her general clout and appeal to a large audience. They were just trying to strike while the iron was hot and get people who otherwise would never invest in a crypto to invest in this one for some reason. And while I still feel like just a little bit of common sense could have saved you from this one, I can't avoid feeling bad for anybody who somehow got taken for a ride. The vast majority of these people probably should have known better, but there's probably a couple of helpless marks out there for one reason or another that decided, oh, I'm finally going to get into this crypto thing. And this is the one you went to, Hawk Tuah. So that is a bummer. What's up, Tarar? Hello. Did you guys invest in Hawk Tuah? Of course I did. That's why I'm so upset about it. Let's look at the graph here. If anyone has yet to see this information, this is what a rug pull looks like. Oh, only 15. So heck yeah. Well, you know what? Honestly, we're up. We're already up to. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing. Be sure to turn noties on because, as I said, this will be the landing page, the home base for any streams, any stuff we want to talk about that doesn't fit a currently operating project. We'll just say that. We'll just leave it at that for now. Wow. Merry Christmas. That's a pretty little Christmas tree we've got here, right? So, again, if you want the actual details from someone who can explain them to you in a much more concise and correct manner, I highly suggest going to CoffeeZilla's second or third or eighth channel, Voidzilla, and go watch his exposing the Hawk Tuah scam video. He will talk about a lot of that, but there's some very sketchy language being used in this situation. Haley and crew will refer to the fact that none of the project owners have sold anything. That is allegedly because they were pre-selling these. So they sold these shares off to investors before it went live, and then those investors were able to immediately release it as soon as the numbers jumped up. So this doesn't quite feel like this is something that poor Haley can be 100% innocent from. I feel like she had to have some knowledge that people were going to get ripped off here, because it's just too obvious. Like, these people are dumb. Don't get me wrong. They did a horrible job of covering their tracks, but I just can't imagine that she actually was bought in that this would be something fun for her audience. They had to know this was a rug pull. They were pre-selling these. They also had fees early on. So as CoffeeZilla pointed out, somebody made over $1 million in fees. And when she got the screws put to her, she said, guys, I'm tired. I got to go to bed. I really wanted to watch that whole clip. We will probably might as well. We're here today, so we'll probably just fire up another stream using OBS so I can watch the clips, and we'll do some of the Haley stuff to start that, and then we'll move into our Jim Can't Swim review of everything. But we will look at that space here shortly. But it was unreal. I mean, first of all, these guys, they all get on a space. They pontificate for about 10, 15 minutes, I think, before they let anybody on. Doc Hollywood, which is a name I just hate saying over and over again, starts talking about how if you're into crypto, you're mentally ill. Might have been the only honest thing he said after that, when he said, I am considering myself as part of the mentally ill there. Yeah, Doc, I don't think you'll get any argument from me on that one. But he said that these people should be kissing his ass for giving them the opportunity to lose all of their money. That's just a great guy, a real head case. So here's a little bit of the timeline from Charlie World TV. Haley Welch's alleged involvement in Shock, hashtag Hawk token debacle, isn't just another crypto scam. It's a perfect example of how we elevate mediocrity and watch as it turns into outright exploitation. Whoo! Well, Charlie said it, not me. If these accusations are true, she isn't just guilty of bad business, but complicit in a system that takes advantage of the very people who supported her rise. I think that's the part that is ucky. As Headbug mentions here, under the guise of building a foundation too. And that's another part of the grift, right? They had to go to the Cayman Islands to build this foundation, which, if that isn't a red flag for operating outside of the law, then again, I guess I'm just blessed to have been an online poker player about 15 years ago. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. I thought we were all very aware that if you see the Cayman Islands, that's not exactly legal. Okay. You're working around something there. That is number one. But also, how is it not a rug pull if you had the foresight to build a foundation in the Cayman Islands and they had all this stuff ready and it dropped immediately? They had their sniper excuse built in, which, yes, there were some snipers. Quite probably at this point, a straight up allegation, speculation here, okay, and a joke for what I'm about to say is a joke. But who's to say those snipers weren't part of the project as well? Because it seemed like they had everything else thought of, very poorly, mind you. Their whole plan was to grift gullible people, so I don't think they expected that people would be onto them this quickly. But this whole thing is set up, even with excuses built in, baked in. It just feels like it's exactly what everyone involved wanted it to be. And if Pookie wasn't a thing that existed, which most likely, I believe how this worked is some tech bro came to her with this opportunity. I'm going to pay you this much money to do the Pookie app. Fine. That's probably exactly what happened with the crypto coin scam. But this is something that has been in the works for some time. And another piece of evidence to that, as we saw earlier, was the YouTube channel. All right, I will pull it back up on my end. You probably already saw. I don't think I need to pull this up, but what was it? 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago? How long ago was it that Mark Cuban was on? And when Mark Cuban was on the Talk to a podcast, wouldn't you know it, she starts to mention how she was getting into crypto and says, "Oh, Mark, hey, Mark, if I had a shit coin, would you put it in your wallet, little old me? Would you put my little old shit coin in your wallet, buddy?" And he says, "Oh, yeah, of course I will." Hot damn. Goddamn. What? 12 days ago. All right. 12 days ago, Mark Cuban was on this podcast. She has been building up to this grift. All right. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. I stand by that guess. All right. It's an absolute guess. It's speculation. It's a joke. All right. It's a joke in Minecraft, whatever we got to say. But the idea that 12 days ago you had Mark Cuban on, you're talking about, if I had a shit coin, ma'am, you were 10 days away from launching it. I don't know much. I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. And I believe it was Doc Hollywood himself who said they had been working on this for months. They didn't just put the last 6 months of their life into this for a little 50K scheme. That's what he said to CoffeeZilla. This whole thing just reeks like that. Not only did she know about it, but that she knew what it was going to do. Maybe she really just is that simple and is just happy to be here and is cashing in on this unbelievable fame that she has. But this feels more like an Andy Milonakis, Jake Paul general scam that everyone involved with is aware of ahead of time. Headbuck says she is going to have to do OnlyFans now to make this all vanish. Probably. Hawk Tuah was going to turn it all around for me. I trusted Pookie's AI to guide me through a uniquely human experience, but now the only thing getting screwed is my portfolio. Unbelievable. I feel so bad for anyone who was naive enough to, like, I just, because I'm trying to picture who that person could be, right? It's probably some older family member whose nephew, or well, probably niece, right? How many dudes are watching Talk to a so I just imagine it's like old, like your Facebook aunt, right? Like that sort of meme, that archetype. That's the person who gets told about what Hawk Tuah is and like, oh, look, just bless her heart. And she's so sweet and simple. She's just like me for real. She's just like that dude that sang about fudge rounds in the mountains. Remember that guy? Woo. Fudge round. And then somehow, some way, they're following along to this on social media, uh, and they decide to invest some Ethereum. Could they decide to convert existing crypto into Hawk coin? If you gambled on this, yeah, I mean, good for you. You knew what you were doing. You took a stab, you swung and you missed. I feel like anybody who got into this was doing so expecting the rug pull and just hoping that they could get their shit out ahead of time. But there have to be, when it goes from 500 million to 60 million, like there are some real people in there that somehow, some way got absolutely fucked by this, and it blows my mind. But again, you might have earned it. You might have earned this one, gang. It's wannabe influencers who don't have any friends, probably uncool at school, who don't want to work or put effort into anything. Them and the guys who want Hawk to. Those are the marks there. That is everybody that they're going for. So let me look at my notes here. I do think, of course, in classic Kev fashion, this first one, we having some technical difficulties. So not most streams go for less than an hour, but I don't know if I'm going to just sit here and talk for 17 straight minutes. We may just try this bad boy from OBS with the hopes that that will make our lives a little bit easier, because I really want to get into this JCS thing, and I'd love to just have some fun laughing at the Hawk Tuah space. So before we move into part 2, let's just talk a little bit about what the hell it is that I'll be doing in part 2 with Jim Can't Swim. Some people may not be into the true crime genre, and therefore you might not have any idea as to what this is, why it's a big deal at all, if it is a big deal. As a fan and former patron of the channel, I did find it to be a pretty big deal. It is the classic Harvey Dent live long enough to become the villain meme. So for those of you uninitiated, Jim Can't Swim is a true crime interrogation analysis YouTube channel and Patreon that really set fire and was one of the channels that really led to the true crime boom on YouTube. For the longest time, JCS inspired was its own genre of true crime, because as fans of true crime will know, most documentaries are told in even whether it's a series or a movie, it's done really with that old school documentary feel. You'll have a narrator, you'll have multiple point of view characters that are interviewed, and sometimes the answers from their questions get used as narration as well. So you have a few different people doing the voiceover. You'll have a lot of times a full timeline of events up until that point. That's not what JCS would do. JCS would start at the beginning of an interrogation, maybe give you 2 minutes of context to get there. And from there, it would be you're watching the interrogation footage, and then you'd hear the infamous mouse click audio, and narrator Kazumi would pop in, leaving the analysis with some jokes every now and again. There's a team involved originally with Jim Can't Swim. Forgive me because there's some people that are going to miss out on credit here because I don't have everything handy. But the one most notable contributor to the group is the true crime loser, Scott Sharp, who is someone that if you do enjoy true crime and somehow haven't heard about that channel, I highly suggest it. This is a guy who is a stand-up comedian as well, very comfortable just sitting here and talking to all of you for 20 to 30 minutes. His analysis, it's just him. There's no clips, there's no footage. He takes his notes, he writes them down, and he just talks to you. But he has so many good inside jokes. I highly suggest you look at his Stephanie Lazarus series. Beats me. I just have to check my pictures. Schmida. So he's got all these damn taglines, catchphrases, incredibly funny guy. And that could be felt throughout the videos with JCS as well, because there was a little bit of humor there. And then you've got Kazumi, who's this great narrator, who's very dry and just slow and methodical. And so when the short, sharp bits of humor come in, they hit really well. And it lit the true crime world on fire. As I said, Matt Orchard, Crime and Society, I believe, is somebody who at one point submitted a script for JCS. I think one of his videos did get turned into a JCS video. And then he ended up doing his own thing, being his own channel. But he's one of the few that very clearly does all of the work, has his own flavor, his own voice. Very often, his whole setup is there's going to be a twist 3/4. I'm going to set up, I'm going to tell you the story, and you think you've got all the information, then boom, wouldn't you know it, I was hiding stuff for you, which is sort of his maybe take on the genre as well within it. Little meta commentary about their colleagues, we'll say. So you have JCS with all of this effort, all of this good stuff, and then you'd get these very lazy AI voiceover clones that have just been putting JCS inspired into their titles for years now to build off of the clout. Meanwhile, JCS, the real channel, constantly dealing with having videos removed from YouTube for breaking their very flimsy terms of service. A lot of times you can imagine the people who are involved in some of these videos don't want their interrogation footage out. So then you got to deal with fraudulent copyright claims, all kinds of stuff. So their stuff was always being taken down, including what pretending to be crazy looks like. One of their most popular videos, I think still to this day, like 63 million views, some insane stuff. So they had been gone for about a year. Don't hear from them. Even if you follow their Patreon, they would say, hey guys, it's over. We appreciate you. We're going to leave all of these videos here. The Patreon is full of stuff that either never got approved for YouTube or would be pulled down. So some folks like me, I gave them that dollar. Hell, I might still be giving them that $1 a month if I'm being honest. I don't. Every once in a while, I'll go back and watch a video I haven't seen before, but they did some phenomenal work. So when a new video came out, I was excited. Headbuck says, I loved his video on Casey Anthony, especially. That was a good one. Jody Aries was a good one as well. I believe it's called All of My Ex-Boyfriends Are Still Alive. And this one came out. It's called Newlyweds Tell on Each Other. And from the first sentence, you could tell that something was different. Not only did we have an AI voiceover of the original narrator, so somehow they used a program to tune the AI to sound like Kazumi. And at certain times, every once in a while, the odd sentence, every 1 out of 4 sentences would sound like the man himself. It kind of worked, but it wasn't just that the voiceover was AI. The video editing within the first minute, there's obvious AI being done. Again, and these were not overly edited productions to begin with. They would have a little bit of flair, but it was more there was good substance to the content. And so they didn't need all the bells and whistles and didn't apply them. So within 30 seconds, I'm seeing an AI video being used rather than just a still footage with the Ken Burns zoom, which is normally what they would have done. It just reeked to high heaven immediately. And then you get into the script itself. And without a doubt, if that script was not done by an AI, then it was done by a first time writer who didn't have the time or couldn't afford to hire an editor. And that's where things start to get weird because everyone gets upset. Not only that it's an AI of Kazumi, but 2/3 into the video, it switches altogether. It goes to a female robot voice. It's not even trying anymore. And so people, whether rightfully or not, fans of not only JCS but of Kazumi get very upset because they, uh, I guess, believably so, like rightfully so, maybe assumed that this meant Kazumi's not getting paid. So you took what was one of the 3 most definable factors of your product, the voiceover work, and you replaced him with an AI. Normally, you don't do that unless you're trying to save money or you've had some kind of falling out with the creator. And this is where we will get into a tweet from Kazumi. This, I think I'm strong enough to pull this up here. This may be the last thing we share before we switch over to the other stream. But Kazumi has shed some very odd light on this situation as I get this pulled up here. And I will read it to you. From the man himself. Look, there are people saying things that are just incorrect about JCS and myself. JCS got my permission first to use AI regarding my voice, and I am also being compensated word for word like I normally would. They're simply not screwing me over. And their future uploads should have my actual narration on them. Now, poor Kazumi for having to run defense for these fools anyway. They notoriously are horrible at communicating with their audience. That is warranted feedback for the group. Okay. Despite all of this going on, they haven't tweeted since 2023. I don't think they don't have shit to say about this. They deleted their community tab a long time ago. Again, the last post on Patreon was it's over, folks. Thank you for the support. So they came back with a hastily slapped together video. It also said in the description, thanks for waiting, gang. The new video should be out in a couple of weeks, which leads me to assume, all right, I'm assuming here, that had this not been noticed, they were planning on just rolling out slop after slop every 2 weeks. Let's water down. This was a channel that was thriving, releasing 1 to 2 videos a year. So everything about this just screams to me that the original content creators have sold their interest off. Maybe someone from the original team is still there. I have no idea. But there is no way that the original JCS team is still behind this. Otherwise, I have to believe they're smart enough to avoid such an obvious cash grab and again dilute their product. That one video has probably done more harm for them than a stagnant year. At least their other content was good and would still bring in views, has rewatchability for fans of the genre. This had to have turned people away, and they knew it. Otherwise, you don't pull a video getting as many views as that thing was getting unless you have a good reason to do so. They were not prepared for the backlash, clearly. Heba says, sounds to me like he's ill or recovering so he can actually record for the time being, but doesn't want to disclose his personal situation, but he sees a future recording for the channel. That is fair. It's been very murky with Kazumi. It's the selective vocabulary is sort of what leads you to think something is off. And perhaps you're right, Headbug. I don't want to sit here and have my mind completely made up. I also want to point out that that tweet was tweeted at 3 a.m. An odd choice. I am here to invest in Hawk Tuah coins. Thanks, man, for the promotion. What up, Polar Knights? Yeah, make sure now is probably a great time to get in. I always say buy the dip, right? It's gonna bounce back. All jokes. Don't ever take financial advice from me. But my thoughts on it are that Jim Can't Swim has potentially sold its interest to someone else who was hoping to revive the channel and either doesn't have the resources to do it the way it was done previously, or is choosing not to spend that money because they wanted to make this thing profitable. Either way, it's not good. And when we come back on the next installment of this, which I don't know, give me 15, 20 minutes or so from when we go ahead and end this stream, I'll be fired back up. It will just be on YouTube. So if anybody's watching on Twitch that wants to check that out, just go ahead and subscribe over on youtube.com at Kev Nevick. Polar, we have a very similar thought on this one. I said that. Although I'm torn, like I said, there's part of me that still feels bad for, the most gullible among us, but how stupid can you get to invest in something that yells scam? If you're investing in this, you deserve to lose your money. Like I said, I agree with that wholeheartedly, probably to 90%, maybe 98%. And even it's so hard. Even the ones I want to feel bad for, there's part of me that's screaming like, dude, how could you fall for that? Hawk Tuah coin, the spit on that thing coin. It's not like we don't have the Logan Paul examples. It's not like we don't have massive influencer scams that predate this one, that there should be enough in our collective subconscious to say, no, what am I doing here? I'm not investing in the blowjob coin. I'm not doing that. Not today. If you want to go and gamble it all, go bet it all on black and lose your money like a real degenerate. At least have a little fun. At least get a little rush from it. Boogie too. I forgot about the book, man. The boogie scams. I forgot. Yeah, of course. Of course. How could I forget that? Well, you know what? Because after the cancer thing, I've never thought of anything else about that. Irreparable, that reprehensible, disgusting excuse of a being. Boogie 2988. But there you go. Kazumi, we'll keep an eye on that. Future uploads should have my actual narration in them, according to him. I thought it was also interesting, and a lot of people took this the wrong way, when he says, I am also being compensated word for word like I normally would. I think one of the first comments there says, if using AI costs the exact same, why would they use lower quality AI voice in the final product? No, that's not what's happening. He's getting paid a discounted amount per word, would be my guess. And he agreed to that, which is an interesting one. I don't know that I would ever give any content creator permission to use an AI of my voice, even if I was getting paid at a discount. I think I would almost rather meet them in the middle and give them a discount for me reading it rather than put that out there. Because then once that's out there, other people can use it too. And at a certain point, obviously, we all know AI is nowhere close yet. Almost all of us can pick it out immediately, but there may come a time where it's believable enough. And now, if you're someone like Kazumi who has this recognizable voice, like the more that AI has your vocabulary and the more it can duplicate what you do, you're just really limiting your future work there. So I think that was a bold move from him to do that. I don't think that was very smart. But again, he's somebody who's doing that as a career, so doesn't need to take my advice on it. But not something you would ever see me do. I don't recommend that if you're a voice talent. Just letting someone use an AI of you, probably not a good idea. Well, bang, well, bang goes my plans. We'll give you a discount. All right, it can be real cheap. I thought about messaging that to these guys, like, hey, whatever Kazumi's was doing it for, I'll do it for 1/10 of that for the love of the game. Because Jesus, you can't go out like this, JCS. You can't do it. But all right, gang, it's about to be time for me to head out. Like I said, the original goal was for this to be a 2-hour stream. So I plan on coming back and giving you about another hour of all of this stuff. We'll probably just do a little bit of the Hawk Tuah stuff and really spend a lot of our time breaking down what JCS used to be and what this new stuff looks like. So thank you all. 12 eggs. Okay. There it is. Yes, honestly, that's a great deal. Polar Knights is only one that made money, as always, is the ones giving self-free coins, insider trading, 100%. That or the ones that those insiders pre-sold to other people. But yeah, it was all set up, all very clearly a scam. Disgusting. So anyway, thank you to everyone who has joined, the new subscribers. Welcome. If you like what I do here, go check us out at dweebyoutube.com. That's dweeb with 2 Ds. You can also hang out with us over on Bite Size Sports. Check that out. Lots of football, basketball, NBA, NFL, MLB, racing, all of the major sports out there in the world. And hey, you may want to throw out a speculative, easy for me to say, pal. If you're looking to do a little gambling, if you're looking to maybe buy the dip and get invested into something before it skyrockets, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the Clout Route as well? All right. Rumor has it, my sources are telling me that the two heads of that production have been in talks to potentially bring it back at some point. So maybe go ahead and subscribe there too. But in the meantime, I'll be back. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Impromptu stream. So I greatly appreciate anybody being here in the chat. And y'all kept me company the whole hour. So shout out. Thank you. Polar Knights, Headbug, Terrar. Good to see you again, Terrar. Harles Barkley as well. And shout out to anybody lurking out there. I love you. So we will see you next time, gang, which will not be very far away. Peace.